You've been told to just manage your symptoms. But what if your problem is hiding below the surface? Welcome to Root Cause Wellness.
Okay, let's talk about coffee. What if I told you that the one thing you absolutely rely on to get through your day is the very thing that's running you into the ground? And I'm not just talking about getting the jitters or a bad night's sleep. We're going to dive deep into how that morning cup might be systematically burning out your body's most important energy systems. And the scary part is, most of us have no idea it's even happening. Sound familiar? You're pouring that second, maybe even third cup of the day, desperately hoping to feel that same kick you got from the first one, but it just doesn't hit the same. You're just chasing that feeling of being normal, right? Well, it's a super frustrating cycle, and it turns out there's a very real, very serious biological reason for it. You know, the whole cycle really begins the second that alarm goes off. You might have gotten 7, maybe 8 hours of sleep, but you wake up feeling like you just ran a marathon. Your body feels heavy, your brain is just thick with fog, and you haven't even thrown the covers off yet.
So what's the very first thing you do? You stumble to the coffee pot. And let's be honest, that first cup, it's not about getting a boost of energy to go crush your goals. It's a lifeline. It's just about clearing the fog enough to feel like a functioning human being. It's the bare minimum to even start the day.
So you power through the morning feeling okay, but then, bam, 3 o'clock hits like a ton of bricks. The energy you thought you had just vanishes. The brain fog rolls back in, thicker than before, and your motivation completely hits rock bottom. All you can think about is either another coffee or just throwing in the towel for the day. And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. That crushing exhaustion you feel isn't just you being tired. It's a major red flag. And the coffee you're using to try and fix it is actually the very thing triggering your body's internal alarm system, pushing it into a dangerous state of survival.
So that brings us to this idea of the fight or flight trap. Let's break down the sneaky neurological trick that caffeine is playing on your body every single morning. See, your body has this incredible built-in alarm system. It's called the sympathetic nervous system. Now, when you're faced with a real threat, like, a tiger jumping out of the bushes, this system floods your body with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. It's what gives you that superhuman surge to either fight for your life or run like heck.
So, your nervous system basically has 2 modes, 2 settings. On one side, you've got rest and digest. This is your chill mode. It's where your body heals, recovers, and repairs cells. On the other side, you've got fight or flight. That's emergency survival mode. And here is the most important part. Your body cannot be in both modes at the same time. It has to choose one or the other.
So here's where the coffee comes in and messes everything up. Caffeine basically acts like a false alarm. It flips that fight or flight switch even when there's no real danger. And when you drink it all day long, you are literally hijacking your own nervous system, forcing it to stay in this low-grade state of emergency. You're never giving it a chance to switch back to rest and digest, where all the actual healing and recovery is supposed to happen.
Okay, so if coffee just keeps us in survival mode, where does that energy we feel actually come from? Well, this leads us to maybe the biggest myth about coffee. It doesn't give you energy. It's much more like a chemical loan shark. And believe me, that debt is going to come due with interest.
So to get this, you need to meet a little molecule called adenosine. Think of adenosine as your body's natural sleepiness signal. From the moment you wake up, it starts to build up in your brain. And the more of it you have, the more tired and sleepy you feel. It's your body's way of gently saying, hey, it's time to rest soon.
And this is how the debt cycle works. So, step 1, adenosine builds up, making you feel tired. Normal stuff. But then, in comes caffeine. Now, caffeine molecules look so much like adenosine that they can actually slide into its parking spots, its receptors, and block them. Your brain is totally tricked into thinking it's wide awake. But, and this is the kicker, look at step 3. The adenosine doesn't just disappear. Oh no, it keeps building up in the background like a huge debt. And when that caffeine finally wears off, all of that backed up adenosine comes flooding back to the receptors at once. And that's step 4, the massive, overwhelming crash that feels so awful.
So you're constantly in fight or flight, and you're running on borrowed energy from a chemical loan shark. What do you think happens when you do that day after day, year after year? Well, your body's engine, it starts to stall. And this is what leads to a state called adrenal burnout. Let's dig into what's really happening inside your body. Think of your adrenal glands, these 2 little guys sitting on top of your kidneys, as your body's power plants. They're the ones that produce adrenaline. Now, when you drink coffee, you're essentially slamming your foot on the gas pedal, forcing these glands to crank out stress hormones whenever you want. And doing that every single day, especially when you're already wiped out, is like forcing an engine to redline while it's totally out of oil. Eventually, it's just going to sputter and stall out.
So what does that stalled engine actually feel like in real life? Well, it feels like waking up completely drained no matter how long you slept. It's that chronic brain fog you just can't seem to shake. It's a total lack of motivation for things you used to enjoy. It's a low or even non-existent sex drive. And it's that constant, low-level hum of anxiety in the background. This isn't just being tired. This is a state of deep, deep physiological exhaustion.
Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but listen, this is the most important part of this whole conversation. This is not permanent. You are not broken. This is reversible. So now, let's get into the good stuff, a science-backed plan to help your body heal and finally reclaim its real, natural energy. And the plan is actually pretty straightforward. It's got 3 main steps. Number 1, you've got to take a break. You have to give those poor adrenal glands a chance to rest without the constant demand for stimulants. Number 2, you need to replenish the specific nutrients they've been burning through just to keep you going. And number 3, you support your whole system with some amazing natural compounds that help your body handle stress better. So how do we replenish those nutrients? We start with this little magic drink, the morning adrenal cocktail. You drink it right when you wake up because that's when your stress hormone, cortisol, is naturally at its highest. The orange juice gives you vitamin C to help bring that cortisol down. The cream of tartar gives you a shot of potassium, which is critical for your cells to even make energy. And that little bit of pink salt replaces the sodium that your exhausted adrenals have literally been dumping. It's so simple, but it gives your body exactly what it's screaming for. And to really support this reset, we can bring in a couple of heavy hitters. First, there's ashwagandha. It's a type of herb called an adaptogen, and it basically acts like a shield for your nervous system, helping to block the negative effects of cortisol. And then there's high-quality fish oil, which studies have shown can directly lower not just how stressed you feel, but your actual measurable cortisol levels. And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important question. After all this time running on borrowed energy, living in survival mode, what would it actually feel like to run on your body's own natural energy again? To wake up and feel truly rested and clear-headed and actually motivated? Are you ready to find out who you really are without needing a stimulant just to get through the day?
Remember, true health is about getting to the underlying root cause, not just managing your symptoms with a label and a pill.